Hello everybody, my dear friends, students. Another Say Hurdle today. We are going to talk about divide and conquer. How to cut long files into, let's say, more manageable pieces. If you remember, in the previous lessons, we created a simple function and we put it in the same file where the main function is. Look at my screen. Of course, there is nothing wrong to do that. However, of course, as soon as your file getting longer and longer, as soon as you develop more and more functions, it may be really messy trying to combine everything in just one file. Your file may be too long to grasp, too long to comprehend. So what's the C approach to divide big files and conquer the project complexity? You may now put all the functions in a separate file. So in my situation, I have just one function adder, but I may have other functions as well. For example, I may have a subtractor function, I may have a multiplier function, I may have a divider function. So you may combine those, let's say, utilities in one file. You may call it utils, for instance. In my situation, I call it utils2.c. And you may also create a header file where you put all your functions prototypes. So sometimes we call a bunch of functions a module. So you see in the utils.h, I'm gonna put all my functions prototypes. So in case now I need any of them, I don't have to remember. I don't have to remember those functions prototypes. I just put one line of code, include utils.h, where all the module functions prototypes are, and compiler going to pick up the one the compiler needs. So technically speaking, my program didn't change. It does exactly the same what it did, but I divided into files. I have now main function in one file. I have all the functions definitions in another file. I have all the functions prototypes in a header file. And this way now you can manage any size, projects of any size, because you know the approach, you know how to cut. Usually in the header file, we also put a couple of special directives to avoid multiple definitions. So sometimes when your projects are complex, what might happen, header file going to be compiled twice or thrice, and you will have redefining issues when you redefine the same prototypes or the same constants. So usually in the header file we put a couple of special definition directives to avoid this problem, so to make sure header file included only once. But I'm not going to right now get in those details. I'm just going to double check. That's my main function. That's the function's definitions. I have just one, but I may have many functions in a module. I have a header file with all the prototypes combined together. And now I can try to compile and to run. Command line now is longer because you need more files to be compiled. You don't include header files when you compile because header files automatically included through the source files. You have inside source files references to the header files. So let's compile. I'm using a Microsoft compiler, CL, but sometimes I'm using GCC compiler. Sometimes I'm using Visual Studio, and let me run it. It should work exactly the same way as it used to work. So you see everything working exactly the same way as it used to. So thank you very much for listening. It's very important how to cut your project into manageable pieces. Don't forget to express your opinions about the lecture using likes or even dislikes. Feel free to express yourself. Subscribe for the channel, watch other courses on my channel, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.